This calm is not loud, and it does not boast, but it steadies you. It roots you so that when tomorrow comes, with its surprises, its joys, its hardships, you will not meet it as a captive, but as a co-creator of whatever meaning it may hold. And perhaps as you keep walking this road, you will discover that what you once feared most was never the unknown itself, but the possibility that you would not be able to bear it. And now, with each step, you are proving to yourself that you can. There is a quiet courage that takes root when you understand that life was never meant to hand you guarantees, but to invite you into a dialogue with the unknown. Each day, when you wake, the story is unwritten. And though that truth can stir fear, it is also what makes existence alive, dynamic, and filled with possibility. Without the uncertainty of tomorrow, there would be no wonder, no growth, no reason to hope, because everything would already be fixed and known. And so you begin to see that the very thing that unsettles you, the open horizon, the shifting future, is also what makes life worth living. If everything were certain, there would be no need for faith, no reason for love, no chance to rise into courage, because nothing would demand it of you. The unknown is not only where your fears live, but where the most profound parts of you awaken. This realization does not erase the trembling in your chest, but it changes the way you hold it. Fear is no longer a verdict against your strength. It becomes proof that you are standing on the threshold of something significant, something worth stepping toward even if your knees shake. Viktor Frankl understood this threshold well. In the deepest suffering, he saw people cling to even the faintest sparks of meaning, moments of connection, whispers of hope, dreams of a future contribution that might justify their present pain. And those sparks, though small, were often enough to keep the soul alive when the body and mind were stretched to their breaking point. You, too, can seek those sparks. They may not always be grand. Sometimes they appear as a fleeting smile, a brief moment of beauty, a word from a friend, or the simple rhythm of your breath reminding you that you are still here, still alive, still capable of meeting the day ahead. These sparks, gathered one by one, can light your way through even the darkest stretches of uncertainty. And as you collect them, something within you begins to shift once more. The fear of tomorrow, while still present, no longer feels like a weight pressing you into the ground. It feels like a shadow trailing you, but one you can move with, one that cannot hold you in place if you keep walking. This is the essence of transformation. Not that fear disappears, but that it loses its power to dictate your every move. You stop living in reaction and start living in reaction. You respond with courage when fear says to retreat. You respond with creation when despair whispers that nothing matters. You respond with love when the temptation is to close yourself off to avoid loss. Every response, no matter how small, rewrites the story you are telling yourself about your life. The narrative shifts from one of survival to one of engagement. You are no longer someone simply waiting for tomorrow to prove safe. You are someone shaping tomorrow by how you choose to live today. And with this shift comes a deeper awareness. Meaning is not something hidden at the end of your fear, waiting to be revealed once the uncertainty is gone. Meaning is crafted, moment by moment, even as uncertainty lingers. It is built not in the absence of fear, but alongside it in the way you continue to give, to connect, to move toward what matters despite the shadows. In time, the very presence of fear becomes a kind of ally, a reminder that you are on the edge of what is vital. It sharpens your senses, calls your attention to what you might otherwise take for granted, and pushes you to live with an urgency that comfort alone could never inspire. And as you honor this urgency, you begin to see that life, fragile and fleeting as it is, holds more depth than you once imagined. The unknown is not a void to fear, but a space in which every breath, every choice, every act of love becomes more precious because it is not guaranteed. This understanding, though it does not banish your trembling, offers something steadier, a sense of quiet belonging to life as it is. You do not have to wait for fear to leave. You do not have to demand answers before you act. You can live here now, even with the uncertainty, and discover that this is not merely surviving, it is truly being alive. And in that aliveness, the fear of tomorrow, while never vanishing, becomes something you can carry, not as a chain, but as a signpost, reminding you each day to ask, what is worth my courage? What is worth my love? What is worth my one fleeting life? There is an intimacy in facing the unknown that few dare to embrace. It requires a kind of honesty with oneself, a willingness to sit in the discomfort of not knowing, to watch the fear rise and fall without trying to smother it or flee from it. In that honesty, you discover a strength that is not loud or showy, but quiet and enduring. It is the strength of simply being present with whatever comes, without pretending that you have all the answers or that the future will unfold according to your plans. This presence, this groundedness, is a kind of freedom. It frees you from the tyranny of needing to control outcomes, from the exhausting effort to secure certainty in a world that offers none. It allows you to move through life with an openness that paradoxically brings greater stability. Not the stability of rigid safety, but the stability of rootedness in the face of change. Viktor Frankl's words echo here. Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose our response. This space, often overlooked, is where your true agency resides. The fear of tomorrow may be intense, but it does not dictate your response unless you allow it to. Within that space, you can cultivate a response born not of panic or avoidance, but of courage and meaning. To cultivate this space, you must practice patience with yourself. Growth is rarely linear or swift. It is a spiral, a series of advances and retreats, moments of clarity followed by doubt. You may find yourself moving forward one day, only to feel overwhelmed the next. This is not failure. It is the rhythm of the human experience. The key is to keep returning to presence, to keep choosing, over and over, to engage with life despite the unknowns. As you do this, you begin to notice how meaning weaves itself through the fabric of your days. It is in the choices you make, the relationships you nurture, the small acts of kindness and bravery that add up to a life lived fully. Meaning is not a destination but a process, a daily decision to move toward what matters even when the path is unclear. And sometimes meaning emerges in unexpected ways. It may come through suffering that teaches compassion. It may arise from loss that deepens appreciation. It may grow from failure that sparks resilience. These moments, though painful, carry gifts that no comfort can provide. They reveal parts of you previously hidden. Your capacity to endure, to forgive, to hope. This is the paradox of the human condition. Our greatest growth often arises not in spite of, but because of our trials. The fear of tomorrow, when met with openness, can become the doorway to a richer, more authentic life. Yet, this is no easy path. It requires you to walk with vulnerability, to acknowledge the shadows that dwell within you, to face the parts of yourself that fear, doubt, and despair can paralyze. But it also invites you to discover the depths of your courage, your wisdom, and your capacity for love. And so, you continue. Step by step, moment by moment, you build a life that holds both your fears and your hopes. You learn to carry the weight of uncertainty without being crushed by it. You find that in the tension between fear and meaning, between doubt and purpose, lies the essence of what it means to be truly alive. This journey is yours alone, yet it connects you to a larger human story, a story of resilience, of transformation, of the unyielding search for meaning in a world that offers no guarantees. As you walk this path, remember that you are not alone. The fear of tomorrow is a shared experience, a thread that binds all who dare to live deeply. And in this shared experience, there is a collective strength, a reminder that while the future is unknown, the human spirit is remarkable in its ability to endure, to hope, and to find meaning amidst uncertainty. To live with the fear of tomorrow is to live on the edge of existence itself. It is to face the rawness of life in all its uncertainty, to stand at the crossroads where hope and despair intertwine. But it is also here on this precarious edge that the most profound discoveries await, discoveries about who you are, what you value, and what it truly means to live. The fear you feel is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to your capacity to care. It shows that your heart is awake, that you have something at stake in this world. And it is precisely this care, this willingness to be vulnerable, that opens the door to meaning. Meaning, as Viktor Frankl taught us, is not something to be found passively, like a lost object waiting to be discovered. It is something to be actively created, moment by moment, through the choices you make in response to life's challenges. It is forged in the crucible of suffering and joy alike, in the tension between what is and what could be. When you embrace this, you begin to see that the fear of tomorrow need not be an enemy to be defeated. Instead, it becomes a companion, one that, while often uncomfortable, nudges you toward greater awareness, deeper commitment, and fuller presence. This companionship with fear transforms your relationship to time. The future, once a source of anxiety, becomes a canvas of possibility. The present, once overshadowed by worry, becomes a place of opportunity. And the past, once a reservoir of regret, becomes a teacher offering wisdom. You come to understand that time is not your adversary, but your ally. Each moment is an invitation to choose meaning, to live authentically, to connect with what matters most. And even when the path ahead is unclear, the act of choosing itself carries profound significance. This insight frees you from the paralysis that fear can bring. You no longer wait for perfect conditions to act. You begin to move forward with what you have, imperfect, uncertain, but willing. And in this willingness, you find a courage that surprises you, a resilience that grows stronger with each step. Viktor Frankl's legacy reminds us that the human spirit is capable of remarkable endurance. He witnessed this in the darkest of places where hope was all that remained. And he taught that even when everything is stripped away, the freedom to choose one's attitude remains. This freedom is the heart of meaning. It is the power you hold to shape your experience, to find purpose amidst chaos, to transform suffering into strength. It is the light that shines in the darkness, guiding you through the unknown. As you cultivate this freedom, you begin to live not as a victim of circumstance, but as a creator of your story. You claim your role as an active participant in life's unfolding, embracing both its uncertainties and its possibilities. And in doing so, you discover that the fear of tomorrow, while still present, loses its grip. It becomes a signal rather than a sentence, a call to presence rather than a source of paralysis. You learn to dance with uncertainty, to move with grace through the shifting landscape of your existence. You find that meaning is not a fixed destination but a journey, an ever-evolving path shaped by your choices, your values, and your courage. And as you walk this path, you become a beacon for others, proof that even in the face of fear, meaning can be found, life can be embraced, and the future can be met with open arms. There is a moment in the human journey when the walls we build to keep fear at bay begin to crumble. We realize that these walls, our expectations, our plans, our imagined certainties, cannot protect us from the ever-changing tides of life. This realization is not a defeat but an awakening. It calls us to embrace vulnerability as a form of strength and to see uncertainty not as a threat, but as the very fabric of existence. In that vulnerability lies an invitation to live deeply, to engage fully, to love without reservation despite the risks, to recognize that the very things that scare us, the unknown, the uncontrollable, also contain the seeds of meaning, growth, and connection. Viktor Frankl's insight into this dynamic is profound. He understood that suffering, when met with purpose, does not destroy the human spirit but refines it. That even in the darkest circumstances, meaning can be found in the way we choose to respond. The fear of tomorrow then becomes not a barrier but a threshold, an entry point into a life lived with intentionality and courage. This threshold requires us to surrender the illusion of control and to cultivate trust. Trust in ourselves, trust in life, trust in the unfolding mystery. Trust that even when the path is shrouded, there is a way forward that aligns with our deepest values. To cultivate this trust, we must learn to be present, not just superficially, but deeply present to the moment, to our emotions, and to the world around us. Presence anchors us in reality and opens us to the wisdom that arises when we stop resisting and start observing. Through presence, we begin to see that fear is not all-powerful. It is a visitor, sometimes unwelcome, sometimes persistent, but not the master of our fate. We have the capacity to observe fear, to acknowledge it, and to choose a response that honors our desire for meaning, rather than succumbing to avoidance. This choice is the essence of freedom. It is the freedom Viktor Frankl spoke of. The freedom to choose one's attitude in any circumstance. It is a radical empowerment that transforms us from passive recipients of life's hardships into active creators of meaning. And as we exercise this freedom, we discover new capacities within ourselves. Courage arises not as a sudden eruption, but as a quiet persistence. Hope grows not as a naive optimism, but as a grounded trust. Meaning unfolds not as a fixed answer, but as an ongoing dialogue between ourselves and the world. The fear of tomorrow, while never completely silenced, becomes a companion in this dialogue, a reminder of our aliveness and an impetus to live with greater intention. This transformation does not erase the challenges ahead. It does not promise ease or certainty, but it does offer a profound shift from living in fear of the unknown to living in partnership with it. In this partnership, we learn that the future is not a threat to be feared, but a canvas to be painted with the colors of our choices, values, and love. And as we take up our brush, we realize that meaning is not a distant destination, but the journey itself, the unfolding story we create with every step forward, every act of courage, every moment of presence. Through this understanding, we become more than survivors of our fear. We become authors of a life rich with purpose, resilience, and grace. There comes a point when the weight of fear begins to reveal its hidden purpose. It is not merely a force of destruction or paralysis, but a profound teacher inviting you to look deeper. Fear signals what is truly important to you, what you value beyond all else, and what you are willing to risk for the sake of meaning. This understanding transforms the nature of fear. It is no longer something to be feared, but a messenger, sometimes harsh, sometimes gentle, guiding you toward the parts of yourself that have yet to be fully known or embraced. Viktor Frankl's own journey was marked by this insight. In the darkest moments of despair, he recognized that meaning was not dependent on external circumstances, but on the stance one takes toward those circumstances. This stance, the freedom to choose one's attitude, became a source of strength that no external force could take away. You, too, carry this freedom within you. It is a quiet power that does not require you to be fearless, but invites you to stand with courage despite fear. It calls you to meet tomorrow, not with resignation, but with a readiness to engage, to create, and to love. This readiness is not an absence of doubt or uncertainty, but a commitment to move forward in spite of them. It is a willingness to hold your trembling heart and take the next step, knowing that each step is a building block of meaning. And as you take these steps, you begin to notice a shift in how you experience time. The future, once a source of dread, becomes a space of possibility. The present, once clouded by worry, becomes a place of grounding and presence. The past, once a reservoir of regret, becomes a wellspring of lessons and growth. This shift opens the door to a deeper engagement with life, a life that embraces its imperfections, uncertainties, and fragilities as essential parts of its beauty. Meaning, then, is found not in escaping fear, but in weaving it into the fabric of your existence. It is in the dance between vulnerability and strength, between doubt and hope, between loss and love. And through this dance, you become a participant in a larger human story, a story of resilience, transformation, and the enduring search for purpose. This story is not about perfection or certainty, but about presence and choice. It is about the courage to face the unknown with an open heart, and the willingness to create meaning even when the outcome is unclear. In embracing this story, you find a source of peace that transcends circumstance. It is a peace born not of absence of fear, but of a deep trust in your own capacity to endure, to adapt, and to find light in the darkest places. Viktor Frankl taught us that life asks us not why we suffer, but what we do with our suffering. This question, profound and challenging, is the gateway to meaning. It invites us to transform pain into purpose and fear into freedom. And as you continue to walk this path, you discover that the fear of tomorrow is not an enemy but a guide. One that, when honored, leads you toward a life lived with intention, depth, and grace. In the silent spaces between fear and hope lies a profound truth. Meaning does not require certainty to exist. It thrives in the tension, the uneasy balance of not knowing and still moving forward. This tension, uncomfortable though it may be, is the crucible of authentic life. You may ask yourself, how can I find peace when tomorrow remains unknown? How can I embrace meaning when fear clouds my vision? These questions are not signs of weakness, but of a soul searching for deeper understanding. They are invitations to shift your perspective, to move beyond the illusion that certainty is a prerequisite for meaningful existence. Viktor Frankl reminds us that humans are not defined by their circumstances but by their responses to them. The freedom to choose one's attitude is the essence of our humanity. Even in the face of profound suffering, this freedom remains intact, a beacon of hope amid darkness. To live with this freedom is to reclaim your power. It means that while you cannot control what tomorrow holds, you can control how you meet it. You can meet it with courage, with grace, with an openness to find meaning even in hardship. This reclamation requires practice. It asks you to be patient with yourself, to return to presence again and again, to choose meaning in the small moments when fear tempts you to retreat. It is in these moments, repeated over time, that transformation unfolds. And transformation is not a destination but a continuous process. It is the unfolding of your life story, shaped by each choice, each act of courage, each embrace of vulnerability. As you engage in this process, you begin to notice how meaning weaves itself through your days. In the kindness you offer, the love you give, the beauty you create, and the resilience you nurture. The fear of tomorrow, once a heavy burden, becomes a reminder of what is precious. It sharpens your focus, deepens your appreciation, and invites you to live more fully in the present. This invitation is not easy to accept. It challenges you to confront your deepest anxieties and to step into the unknown without guarantees. But it also offers a profound reward, a life lived with authenticity, depth, and purpose. And so you continue. You walk the path not as one who is free from fear, but as one who has learned to carry it with dignity. You live not in the shadow of uncertainty, but in the light of meaning you create. Viktor Frankl's legacy teaches us that this is possible for all who dare to embrace it. That even in the face of fear, there is a way to live that honors the fullness of the human spirit. And as you take this lesson into your heart, you begin to see that the fear of tomorrow is not the end of your story, but a beginning. A call to live with intention, courage, and love. The journey through fear toward meaning is not a path of ease. It is rugged, winding, and often shrouded in doubt. Yet, it is in this very struggle that life reveals its deepest gifts. The fear of tomorrow, far from a curse, is a compass, pointing toward the places within us that long for awakening. You may feel overwhelmed by the vast unknown, tempted to retreat into the comfort of certainty, even if that comfort is an illusion. But the invitation remains, to lean into discomfort, to engage fully with the questions that unsettle you, and to find meaning in the process. Viktor Frankl's wisdom shines here. Meaning is not given. It is created through our responses. Even when faced with unbearable suffering, the act of choosing one's attitude becomes an act of profound freedom. This freedom is not a distant ideal, but a present reality accessible to all who dare to embrace it. It is the light that guides you through the darkness, the strength that sustains you when the weight of fear presses down. To live with this freedom, you must cultivate awareness, a mindful presence that allows you to observe your fears without being consumed by them. This presence opens a space where choice becomes possible. Within this space, you can choose courage over retreat, hope over despair, and meaning over nihilism. Each choice, no matter how small, is a declaration of life, a refusal to surrender to fear's paralysis. As you practice this choice, resilience grows. You learn to meet uncertainty not as an enemy, but as an inherent part of existence. You begin to dance with the unknown, finding rhythm in its unpredictability. This dance is the essence of a meaningful life. It is the continual negotiation between what is and what could be, between fear and hope, between loss and love. And in this dance, you discover a deeper truth. That meaning is not a fixed point, but a living, evolving journey. It is shaped by your values, your relationships, your passions, and your courage to keep moving forward. The fear of tomorrow, while never fully disappearing, becomes a familiar companion, one that reminds you of your aliveness and the preciousness of each moment. It calls you to live intentionally, to invest your energy in what matters, and to embrace the fullness of your humanity. In this embrace, you find peace, not the peace of certainty, but the peace of acceptance, presence, and trust. Viktor Frankl's life and teachings illuminate this path. They show us that even in the darkest hours, meaning is possible. And with meaning, hope and resilience follow. As you continue your journey, remember that you hold within you the power to shape your story, to find meaning amid fear, and to live with courage and grace. This is the essence of what it means to be human, a being capable of profound suffering and profound meaning, of deep fear and deep love, of vulnerability and strength. And in embracing this duality, you step into the fullness of life itself. There is a profound dignity in living a life marked not by the absence of fear, but by the presence of meaning. To face tomorrow with an open heart is to affirm the value of existence itself, even in the face of uncertainty. It is to say, though I do not know what lies ahead, I choose to meet it with courage, love, and purpose. This affirmation is a daily practice, a commitment renewed with each dawn. It is not always easy, nor is it always clear, but it is the path to a life that resonates with authenticity and depth. Viktor Frankl's insights remind us that suffering and fear are not meaningless obstacles but opportunities for transformation. They invite us to look beyond immediate discomfort and to discover the potential for growth and connection that lies within. When you embrace this invitation, you begin to see fear not as a foe but as a signpost, pointing toward areas in your life that call for attention, courage, and change. The fear of tomorrow becomes a call to live more fully today. This call challenges you to examine your values, your relationships, and your dreams. It asks you to confront the parts of yourself that may resist change or cling to false securities. It invites you to step into vulnerability and to trust in the unfolding of life. Through this process, you cultivate resilience, not a brittle toughness, but a flexible strength that bends without breaking. You learn to adapt to change, to find meaning in adversity, and to carry hope even when the future is uncertain. Meaning, then, is found not in avoiding fear but in engaging with it, acknowledging its presence, and choosing to move forward anyway. It is a dynamic interplay, a dance that requires balance, grace, and perseverance. As you continue this dance, you discover that the fear of tomorrow no longer controls you. Instead, it becomes a companion that walks beside you, reminding you of the preciousness of life and the importance of your choices. This companionship with fear fosters humility, compassion, and gratitude. You become more patient with yourself and others, more open to the mysteries of life, and more willing to embrace the full spectrum of human experience. Viktor Frankl's legacy is a testament to the power of meaning to transform even the most daunting challenges. His life shows us that the human spirit is capable of extraordinary endurance and creativity when anchored in purpose. And as you draw from this legacy, you find the strength to face tomorrow not as a threat but as an opportunity to create, to connect, and to live with intention. This is the journey of meaning, a journey without guarantees, but rich with possibility. It is a journey that calls you to embrace fear, to choose courage, and to live fully in the present moment. To stand on the precipice of tomorrow, feeling the pull of fear and uncertainty, is to confront the essence of what it means to be human. We are beings caught between the known and the unknown, the seen and the unseen, the certain and the possible. This tension shapes our experience and defines our existence. The fear you feel is not a defect, but a sign of your aliveness. It reveals your investment in life's unfolding, your care for what lies ahead, and your desire to find meaning in the face of mystery. Viktor Frankl's teachings guide us toward a profound truth. Meaning is not discovered by avoiding fear, but by engaging with it courageously. It is in the meeting of fear and purpose that life's deepest significance emerges. This meeting requires you to lean into discomfort, to confront your doubts, and to choose hope over despair. It asks you to be present with your vulnerabilities, and to trust that within them lies your strength. As you cultivate this trust, you begin to see that the fear of tomorrow is a doorway, not a barrier. It invites you to explore what truly matters and to align your actions with your values. This alignment transforms your relationship with time. The future becomes a field of possibilities, the present a moment of opportunity, and the past a source of wisdom. You learn that each choice, no matter how small, contributes to the meaning of your life. The courage to act in the face of fear is itself an act of creation, shaping your story with intention and grace. Viktor Frankl's example teaches us that even in the darkest circumstances, the freedom to choose remains. This freedom is the cornerstone of meaning and the foundation of resilience. As you embrace this freedom, you become more than a passive observer of life's events. You become an active participant, shaping your experience through the attitudes you adopt and the actions you take. This participation requires ongoing effort and reflection. It calls you to be mindful of your inner dialogue, to challenge limiting beliefs, and to nurture hope. The fear of tomorrow, while ever present, becomes less daunting as you deepen your connection to meaning. It becomes a reminder of your humanity and the preciousness of your journey. Through this process, you develop a richer appreciation for life's complexities and paradoxes. You recognize that fear and hope coexist, that vulnerability and strength are intertwined, and that meaning is found in the interplay of these forces. Viktor Frankl's legacy offers a beacon for this journey, a testament to the power of the human spirit to transcend suffering through the pursuit of meaning. And as you walk this path, you discover that the fear of tomorrow need not define you. Instead, it can inspire you to live more fully, love more deeply, and choose more wisely. This is the gift of meaning, a gift that transforms fear into fuel, doubt into determination, and uncertainty into possibility. In the quiet moments when fear whispers its doubts, there lies an opportunity to choose meaning over despair. It is in these moments, often overlooked, that the foundation of a meaningful life is built. Viktor Frankl's philosophy reminds us that even when external circumstances are beyond our control, our inner freedom remains intact. The freedom to choose our response. This inner freedom is not abstract, but tangible. It manifests in the small decisions you make each day. How you speak to yourself, how you treat others, how you face challenges. These choices, cumulative and profound, weave the fabric of your existence. Fear of tomorrow often tries to convince you that you are powerless, that the unknown is something to be dreaded and avoided. Yet, the courage to face the unknown transforms it from a prison into a playground of possibilities. Each step taken despite fear is a step toward reclaiming your life. This courage does not require the absence of fear, but embraces fear as part of the journey. It is the willingness to stand in the fire of uncertainty and say, "I will live fully, regardless of what comes." Viktor Frankl's own life was a testament to this courage. He endured unimaginable suffering, yet he found meaning through his choice to maintain hope and purpose. His story teaches us that meaning is not a luxury, but a necessity, a lifeline that sustains us through life's darkest storms. As you cultivate this perspective, you begin to see that meaning is woven through the ordinary as well as the extraordinary. It is present in the laughter of a friend, the beauty of a sunset, the rhythm of your breath. These moments, when embraced fully, become anchors in the sea of uncertainty. The fear of tomorrow, while persistent, becomes less a tyrant and more a teacher. It invites you to live with greater presence, to appreciate the fleeting nature of life, and to invest your energy in what truly matters. This shift in perspective is not instantaneous, but gradual. It requires patience, practice, and compassion for yourself. You may stumble, retreat, or falter, but each return to meaning strengthens your resilience. Through this resilience, you discover that life's value is not measured by the absence of fear, but by the depth of your engagement with it. The human spirit shines brightest when it embraces its vulnerabilities and chooses to rise. Viktor Frankl's insights guide you toward this embrace. He shows that meaning can be found in the most unlikely places, and that the will to meaning is a powerful force within you. As you walk this path, remember that the fear of tomorrow is shared by all who seek to live authentically. It connects you to a universal human experience and offers a common ground for compassion and understanding. In this connection, there is strength, a reminder that you are not alone in your fears or your search for meaning. And in this shared journey, you find the courage to face tomorrow with an open heart, knowing that meaning, not certainty, is the true foundation of a life well lived. The paradox of fear and meaning is at the heart of human existence. Fear signals the presence of the unknown, a vast space where certainty dissolves and possibility blooms. Meaning is the bridge that allows us to cross this space, transforming fear from a barrier into a gateway. You may wonder how to build this bridge when the ground beneath you feels unstable, when tomorrow seems a vast expanse of shadow. The answer lies not in denying the fear, but in acknowledging it, letting it speak, and then choosing how to respond. Viktor Frankl's teachings guide us to see that our greatest freedom lies in this choice. The freedom to decide our attitude and actions despite circumstances. This freedom is a radical power, a source of hope that no external force can extinguish. To cultivate this freedom, begin by turning inward. Observe your fears without judgment. Notice how they arise, where they take hold, and what stories they tell. Awareness is the first step toward transformation. Next, invite curiosity. Ask yourself, what is this fear protecting? What does it reveal about my values and desires? How might embracing this fear open a path to growth and meaning? Through this inquiry, fear loses some of its power to dominate. It becomes a signal rather than a sentence, a messenger inviting reflection rather than a judge condemning you. Then, cultivate presence. Return again and again to the present moment where life unfolds in its full richness. Presence grounds you, providing a stable platform from which to act with intention. In presence, the future ceases to be a looming threat and becomes a field of possibility. You begin to see that while you cannot control what happens tomorrow, you can influence how you live today. This influence is profound. Each choice made with awareness and purpose shapes your story, adding layers of meaning and resilience. Viktor Frankl's example shows us that meaning is often found not in grand gestures, but in small, consistent acts of courage and kindness. It is in the decision to face each day with openness, to love despite loss, to hope despite uncertainty. As you embody this approach, the fear of tomorrow diminishes in its capacity to paralyze. It becomes a companion that walks beside you, reminding you to cherish life and to live with intention. This companionship invites humility, a recognition that life's mystery cannot be fully mastered but can be embraced with grace. It fosters compassion for yourself and for others who also navigate fear and uncertainty. And it nurtures gratitude for the moments of light and connection that punctuate the darkness. In this space of humility, compassion, and gratitude, meaning flourishes. It becomes the lens through which you view your experiences, the foundation upon which you build your life. Viktor Frankl's teachings offer a roadmap for this journey, a reminder that even in the face of fear, the human spirit can transcend, create, and endure. As you walk this path, carry with you the knowledge that the fear of tomorrow, while real, is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a deeper engagement with life, a call to live fully, love deeply, and choose meaning with courage. To live with the fear of tomorrow is to confront the essence of existence, a confrontation that can either imprison us or liberate us. The choice lies not in avoiding the fear, but in engaging with it authentically. It is in this engagement that meaning reveals itself, not as a distant prize, but as an ever-present companion. Viktor Frankl's journey through unimaginable suffering illuminated this truth. That meaning is found in the response to circumstance, not the circumstance itself. The freedom to choose one's attitude, even in the darkest moments, is the ultimate expression of human dignity. When you accept this freedom, you begin to reclaim your life from the grip of fear. You recognize that while the future is uncertain, your capacity to choose remains. This recognition empowers you to act with intention, to create meaning in every moment. The fear of tomorrow often whispers that you are powerless, that the unknown will overwhelm you. But this whisper is not the final word. It is an invitation to deeper courage, a call to stand in the midst of uncertainty and affirm your commitment to life. This commitment is a practice, a daily return to presence, a continual choosing of hope over despair. It is not a linear path, but a spiral, with moments of doubt and clarity, retreat and advance. As you practice this, resilience grows. You develop the strength to face challenges with openness, the wisdom to learn from adversity, and the compassion to support yourself and others. Viktor Frankl's legacy teaches that meaning arises not from external conditions, but from the inner stance you take. This stance shapes your experience and determines your capacity to endure. The fear of tomorrow then becomes a catalyst for transformation. It calls you to examine your values, to prioritize what matters, and to live with authenticity. Through this transformation, you discover a deeper connection to yourself, to others, and to the mystery of life. This connection is the source of meaning, the foundation of hope, and the wellspring of peace. Living with the fear of tomorrow does not mean being consumed by it. It means acknowledging it, learning from it, and using it as a guide toward a richer, fuller life. You become a participant in your own story. A story that honors the complexity of human experience and the power of choice. Viktor Frankl's insights invite you to embrace this story with courage and grace, to find meaning in the tension between fear and hope, and to live with an open heart. And in doing so, you step into the fullness of your humanity. A humanity marked by vulnerability and strength, uncertainty and meaning, fear and love. There's a sacredness in the very act of facing the unknown, a reverence born from the understanding that life's greatest gifts emerge from its uncertainties. The fear of tomorrow, while daunting, is also a profound teacher, inviting you to awaken to the depth of your being and the vastness of possibility. This awakening calls you to a radical acceptance, not resignation, but an embracing of life in its fullness with all its light and shadow. It asks you to cultivate a presence that holds space for fear without being defined by it. Viktor Frankl's life story serves as a luminous example of this acceptance. Despite unimaginable suffering, he found a way to affirm life's meaning, demonstrating that the human spirit can transcend even the most harrowing circumstances through the power of choice. Your own journey toward meaning involves this same choice, a choice to engage with fear as a pathway rather than a prison. It requires the courage to look honestly at what scares you and to respond with compassion and resolve. In this engagement, you begin to see that fear and meaning are not opposites, but partners in the dance of life. Fear highlights what matters most, and meaning provides the strength to face it. This partnership transforms your experience of time. The future, once a source of dread, becomes a horizon of opportunity. The present, once clouded by anxiety, becomes a moment of clarity and potential. You learn that the quality of your life is shaped not by circumstances, but by the attitude you bring to them. This insight empowers you to live with intentionality, to nurture hope, and to act with purpose. The fear of tomorrow, while persistent, loses its power to dominate. It becomes a companion that gently reminds you of life's fragility and preciousness. Through this gentle reminder, you cultivate gratitude for the breath you take, the relationships you cherish, and the moments of beauty that punctuate your days. This gratitude deepens your connection to yourself and others, fostering empathy and kindness. It opens your heart to the mysteries of existence and the endless dance of change. Viktor Frankl's teachings illuminate this path, offering wisdom and guidance as you navigate the complexities of fear and meaning. As you walk this path, remember that you are not alone. The fear of tomorrow is a universal human experience, a thread that connects all who seek to live authentically. In this connection, there is strength, a shared resilience that carries you forward and sustains your journey. Embrace this strength. Let it fuel your courage and deepen your commitment to a life rich with meaning. And know that the fear of tomorrow, while real, is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a journey toward a life lived with courage, love, and purpose. Within the delicate balance of fear and hope, there lies an invitation to awaken fully to the human experience. This awakening is not a sudden revelation, but a gradual unfolding, a process of peeling back layers of illusion to reveal the core of your being. The fear of tomorrow often shrouds this core in shadows, tempting you to retreat into safety and certainty. Yet, Viktor Frankl's wisdom encourages you to resist this retreat. Instead, he urges you to engage courageously with the unknown, to find meaning within the uncertainty. This engagement begins with the recognition that fear is a natural response, not a flaw. It signals the depth of your investment in life and your desire for meaning. Acknowledging this truth allows you to approach fear with compassion rather than judgment. Compassion transforms your relationship with fear. It softens its edges, diminishing its power to immobilize. Through compassion, you create a space where fear can be felt, understood, and ultimately transcended. Viktor Frankl's teachings guide you toward this space. He shows that even amidst suffering, meaning can be found, and that this meaning is often discovered in the very act of choosing one's attitude. This choice is the essence of freedom. It is a power that no external circumstance can take away, a source of resilience and hope. As you cultivate this freedom, you learn to live not in spite of fear, but alongside it. Fear becomes a companion on your journey, a reminder of life's preciousness and a motivator for intentional living. This companionship encourages you to live with greater presence, to appreciate the fleeting moments that make life rich, and to invest your energy in what truly matters. In doing so, you weave a tapestry of meaning that supports you through uncertainty and change. Viktor Frankl's example illuminates this path. His life was marked by immense hardship, yet he found purpose and hope through his unwavering commitment to meaning. His legacy teaches that meaning is accessible to all who seek it, no matter the circumstances. As you embrace this teaching, you find the strength to face tomorrow with an open heart, ready to engage with whatever comes. You become a creator of your story, shaping it with courage, compassion, and intentionality. And in this creative act, you discover the profound truth that the fear of tomorrow need not be a prison but a portal, a gateway to a life lived with depth, purpose, and grace. Now, as you stand at the crossroads of fear and meaning, I ask you this: will you continue to let the fear of tomorrow dictate the limits of your life? Or will you dare to reclaim your freedom and write your own story? Will you remain a passive observer, shackled by uncertainty? Or will you rise as the courageous architect of your destiny? The path ahead is not easy. It demands honesty, a brutal, unflinching honesty with yourself. It demands courage, the kind that does not promise safety, but insists on authenticity. It demands a willingness to embrace the unknown, to confront the void without turning away. Ask yourself, what meaning are you willing to pursue when everything familiar is stripped away? What values will anchor you when the future dissolves into chaos? How will you respond when fear knocks at your door with relentless persistence? These questions are not meant to be answered quickly or easily. They are meant to haunt you, to unsettle your complacency, to shake the foundations of your existence until something new emerges. Because to live fully, to live meaningfully, is to accept the challenge that Viktor Frankl so boldly laid before us, that suffering and fear are not barriers to meaning, but the very forge in which meaning is created. So, will you step into the fire, or will you retreat into the shadows? The choice is yours, and yours alone. But remember this: meaning is not found in the comfort of certainty. It is born in the courage to face tomorrow, whatever it holds, with an open heart and an unyielding spirit. This is your moment. Will you rise? The dawn breaks not simply as a new day, but as an invitation, a call to awaken beyond fear and to step into the profound mystery of existence with eyes wide open. If the previous act asked us to confront the shadows of tomorrow, now I invite you to discover the light those shadows reveal within your own soul. What if the fear you carry about tomorrow is not a curse, but a sacred messenger? What if it shows you, like a mirror, your deepest values, your unspoken longings, and the silent questions that stir beneath the surface of your being? To live authentically means to stop fleeing from discomfort and instead to lean into it. Fear strips away illusions and exposes what truly matters: the meaning you choose to embody, the relationships you dare to nurture, the legacy you intend to leave behind. I have learned that meaning is not a distant treasure to be found somewhere far away, but a fire kindled in the crucible of the present moment. It is forged in the choices we make, moment by moment, in the face of uncertainty. Now I ask you, what meaning will you choose when fear threatens to silence your voice? How will you write the next chapter of your life, knowing fear is an inevitable companion on this journey?